I'm building a fully functioning sawmill in Minecraft. After a bit of research, I found the 4 main things my build needs to actually count as a sawmill. But first, we need to gather some materials and build the outer structure. This will just be a shell to hold all the moving parts on the inside. Once that's up, we can focus on the actual mechanics. So let's do it. Alright, so I grabbed almost all the blocks we need to build the outside of the sawmill. We filled up all of these shulker boxes. The thing is, I still have some extra materials that I need to get. You see, if I go through, it's granite. The other main one is red terracotta. So the way that I'm going to get those is by converting our iron farm into a different type of farm. I don't know if you guys knew that you can make granite with quartz. Now, the other thing I need, the terracotta, if we look up terracotta, what you need is clay. And we can get clay from crushing gravel. The lucky thing is, this thing makes gravel. That's all it does. It just makes gravel. You can see it popping out. And then it turns that into iron. So if we just crush gravel, we'll get the clay we need. To get the quartz, if we go look back at that recipe for the crushing, you can see we get sand. Now, it's a really long process of events, but pretty much we can turn sand into quartz. Cool, so that was just a simple little fix. So now if I just put this cog back, yep, you can see the numbers going up. Okay, sweet. So now we can just leave that running for a little while, and we'll get almost all of the materials we need. The other thing we have on this material checklist is a whole bunch of stone. Luckily, last episode, we made that super efficient stone farm. Let's just fly over to our super cool stone farm. We're going to need about 17 stacks of stone. Luckily, this thing makes stone really fast. Man, this thing just looks so cool. If you guys haven't seen that video of me building this, go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. In just a couple minutes, we got enough cobblestone. So this farm has been running for about an hour and a half or so. And we actually got all the granite we need. So that's great. One problem is the clay is way too slow. So instead, we're gonna go kidnap a villager from the village. Yep. Okay, we got him. Let's go. Alright, I'm gonna save you guys the trouble of watching that. The villager idea did not work. But I'd love to explain the 4 different things my sawmill needs to do. First of all, my sawmill needs to be able to store multiple different types of wood. Secondly, my sawmill needs to be able to strip logs. Third, I need it to turn logs into planks. That will save me so much crafting time. And finally, it needs to have an area to create tons of different types of wood products. For now, I gathered all the materials, so let's just go right into building the outside of the sawmill. So this thing is almost finished. It's just, as always, there's just a few little things we need to fix, like these floating plants everywhere. We need to get rid of all of these. And there's also some dirt I forgot to remove, so I'm gonna have to remove all of it inside here. Alright, now that this is all cleared, I think we can finally go ahead and start on our storage system. So if we look at the list of things we're going to do, we're going to be doing the log sorting. Because right now, there's 8 different types of wood that I want to farm. So we'll have 8 different storage units all around in this open space. And then probably one more for this really cool item. I'll show you guys that last. For the storage at the sawmill, we're going to use these things called vaults. So you may be wondering why I'm using these instead of just chests or barrels, especially when you see that it takes 2 iron per vault. And the reason is, for example, if I needed to store enough items to fill 3 chests, as you can see, I would need 3 different inputs and 3 different outputs. That's what the 3 hoppers are for. But if I use vaults, you can see I only need 1 input and 1 output. That's because all the vaults that are connected together act as one big chest. Now, the one problem with this is I need a lot of vaults. Like, I need over 6 stacks of them, which means times 2 for iron, so I need over 12 stacks of iron. And right now, I have 2 pieces. And on top of that, I've ruined the iron farm earlier. So, for me to get all the iron that I need, I'm gonna have to go on a little mining expedition. So, let's do that. We got about 3 stacks of iron ore. So I'm just going to crush this and then smelt it, and then we can go make all our vaults. While I was at it, I also just got a few extra diamond blocks. There's about 7 stacks of iron. So now, let's just chop down a couple trees, and we should have everything we need to build those vaults. So I just went ahead and made all those item vaults, and I also got a shulker box full of some other items that we might want to use. So we can just take all of these, and we just gotta head down there. Now that we're here, let's just place all these things down. So we're gonna build 9 of these. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it turns into a bigger vault, and then we can just duplicate it. Just like that. So these item vaults, you actually can't just access by right-clicking. The only way you can access it is by adding these funnels, which will take items out. So let me just do that for all of these real quick. The next thing we need to do is we need to add a way for the items to get into the vault. So back behind all of these, I'm going to have a conveyor which carries all the items from inside the building to outside to get stored. So all of this is now connected up. So now the sorting system for all our items is done. So I'm thinking right now would be a great time to get our power. I'm just going to use a ton of large water wheels. And I was thinking we could put them right here along the wall. So now that this is all working, connect it right here and everything should run. There we go. So now this thing's moving the right way. So now we can work on another thing on our list, building extra items out of our wood. So now that all the conveyors are connected up, I need to create a second pathway. That way we can turn our logs into a different item. That super cool item is a framed cube. I can turn these framed cubes into almost any shape I want. This will make it so that I can make really detailed builds. The first thing we need to do with the logs coming onto here is we need to turn them into planks. The way we'll do this is with a mechanical crafter. All the logs that come onto this pathway will go straight into the crafter and get crafted into planks. So now we can make this pathway, just create the planks we need for the frame blocks, and then we can make the second pathway make sticks. So now we have sticks and then planks, which will go onto these depots right here. The way we can fill each of these individual item slots is by using these things called the mechanical arms. So we can just click on here so that it will take the items from this depot, and then we can double click in all the places we want it. So we want the sticks to go right in that pattern just there. And then we can just place this mechanical arm, and we can do the same with the planks. Now these arms will automatically fill our crafter. So now we just need to get power to all these different items, and then our crafter should work. There we go. So everything's connected up, so I figure we should try it real quick. So if we just throw a whole bunch of spruce logs on here, cool, our logs went all the way around and our arms are picking up all the items. Nice, it's working. So now we can work on the last two things, turning wood into planks and stripping the logs. But we already know how to make planks, so I'll just work on the stripped logs instead. So to do that, we're gonna use something called a slicer. So this thing will just spin really fast and strip anything below it. So I don't actually have any storage bins for the planks or the stripped logs. I'm just gonna build a small little chest over here, just right in the corner. Now I'm gonna use a really cool block to transport this. It's called a weighted ejector. So just like the mechanical arms, I select a target and then I can place these wherever I want them. So now if an item goes onto here, this thing will throw the item in the air and into the funnel. So I hooked everything up, but this thing is not spinning fast enough. So I'm gonna go get a block real quick and fix the speed. So pretty much what I did to fix this is I just attached a speed controller to our output. That way, if we speed this up, everything else will speed up. So obviously the last thing to do is just test if everything works. So let's put a few pieces of wood on each of the 3 pathways. So if we check the chest right here, yep, all our planks and stripped logs are going into there. And now if we go to our sorting system, we should see our logs and our framed blocks being sorted. So I'm actually going to call it right here for today. For everyone who's still watching, I want your guys' help with the next video. If you go over to my channel page and look at the top tabs, you'll see a community tab. Inside that community tab, I'm going to be posting all sorts of stuff so you can help me choose what I'm building in my next videos. I really want to get you guys involved in this, so any ideas or tips, let me know. I'll see ya.